Good day, podcast community. Pete Kane here, alias Podcast Pete. We help people change their mindset, set goals, and create habits. And today we're turning the chapter to 2025. And I thought this would be a great topic. We're going to dive deep into thinking for a change. 10 points in thinking for a change. It actually was written. Here's the book right here. Back in 2003. Dang, 2003. I kept quoting this book, and then all of a sudden I looked in my library and there it was. So appropriate because I think right now it's more appropriate than it was back in 2003 because distractions, information, everything's moving faster. So it takes more purposeful thinking. And like I said in numerous videos, are you stuck on the busy bus? Let me see. There we go. Are we stuck on the busy bus? Are you on the purpose plane? Now, to be on the purpose plane, you have to think. You have to think. I've spent the last 3 years thinking for like 5 hours a day. Crazy. But that's not the point of this video. The point is, I'm going to run down John Maxwell, who is accomplished. Everybody knows John Maxwell that is into leadership and personal development. So we're going to go down his 10 points. Then I'll give you just a little bit of my perspective. So you have an accomplished leader, personal development, who's trained thousands and thousands of people, who's creating an impact that we all dream of. So let's go down. Let's get started. So Maxwell emphasizes great thinking doesn't happen by chance. It's a skill that must be developed through discipline and deliberate action. The book outlines practical steps to align one's thoughts with their purpose, enhance productivity, and unlock potential. Is that not great or what? Okay. First, thinking precedes achievement. Maxwell highlights that all significant accomplishments start with thought. Changing your life begins by changing how you think. There's an old book, classic, As a Man Thinketh, So Shall He Be. So when you think, wow, what happens? So when I wake up, usually between 2:30 and 3, I know it's a little absurd, but there's a reason for it. It's quiet. I have drink a big cup of water because you dehydrate during the night. So I drink a big 20 ounces of water and then sometimes a little bit more. Then I get my cup of coffee, 2 cups of coffee, and I think in total silence. And what am I doing? Like people say, how can you be just not have anything? Well, here's what I do. I'm just thinking about the day before, the day coming up, what lessons I learned. And I journal like crazy now, but I didn't most of my life. I would do it when I was in dark places because they say, hey, do a great, what is it? Great, I don't, there's a word, grateful journal. You know what I mean. Be grateful and journaling. But when you're in the storm and you're looking for a quick fix, there ain't no quick fixes. It's steady, consistent habits. Having the mindset you have to create the habits to create the mindset. I have a nice course on mindset, goals, and habits. And that's the 3 essential things. So let's get back to waking up. That time, total science and thinking, total silence and thinking. I now journal with audio. Now, if you don't know about the iPhone journal app, holy mackerel. It used to be you would get a new phone because the camera was great. And so you had to have the best camera because we love memories. We love pictures. We love taking pictures. We love sharing pictures. So it was really those first few years or 4 or 5 years, it kept getting better and better and better. And everybody, I want that because when you take a picture, you only have that one time to capture that moment. So anyway, they're not getting as I think my iPhone's 3 years old. It still has a really good camera. But several months ago, a friend of mine, Lucas Mota, we were talking after Rotary. We were talking about Growth Day, and it has a journal piece of it, which I use every day. And it prompts you, and he goes, "Well, I use this." And he goes, I said, "What would he use?" And he showed me on his iPhone. And I had seen it, but I didn't know what it was. So he showed it to me, and I went, "Holy mackerel, I like it." Now, that was 70 some days ago. And I took a screenshot because it's the first of the year, just to kind of anchor my milestones. Every single day, I'm doing 4 or 5 journal posts. I'm putting pictures, lessons I learned, people I meet, meetings I went to, just different things because this is a thinking machine, not machine, a muscle. And if the more you think, the more you get on, the bus, because you're thinking on purpose. And your brain is meant to think, not store data. You can't keep up with all the information that's coming at you, but you can think. Now with AI, this summary was from AI. So I said, give me the 10 major points that John Maxwell has in the book, Thinking for a Change. And in seconds, it spit it out. So thinking precedes achievement. So you have to think before you achieve. Okay. Cultivate different thinking styles. He identifies various types of thinking: big picture thinking, focused thinking, creative thinking, and stress and the importance of developing and applying them in the right situation. So there's not just general thinking. It's really how that muscle, your brain, is you're training it. You're training it to think creatively, think of reflection, think of what could you have done better in this situation. So you're self-reflecting. So there's always different styles. I would go down when I lived at Overture. I would wake up about between 3 and 3:30. So that first hour, I was just thinking about the day, and then I have a team in the Philippines, and so I would give them, they're 13 hours ahead. So I would give them some things that I had thought of, and then they would it would be like, get it done then. So we've worked at a system of how I work, how they work, and that was just thinking it through. That was a process thinking, not a big picture thinking. So I'm thinking, how can I operate with a 13-hour difference? Well, what it took was getting up earlier. I always got up at 5, but now I'm getting up between 2:30 and 3. Now I do go to bed early. So, but I don't watch TV. I don't have social media. I don't have a social life. It's kind of boring, but it's so exciting. And I think relationships, and this is just a subtle thing, are so important in life. Your family, your friends, the people you meet, the discovery that I went through in 2 years of intense podcasting, I'll never forget it because I learned so much about people's stories. I was always curious, but when you put yourself in a situation where you're sharing a person's story and you're asking, there's no script. It just, people would say, what kind of questions you going to ask me? I said, I don't know. It depends on your answers. So the one question I'll start off with, who you are, what you do, and who you serve. Then after that, we just go with you answer things. So it kind of develops the curiosity muscle. It helps you think on the spot. So that's another type of thinking. So let's go on to the next one. Big picture thinking broadens perspective. Holy mackerel. If this isn't an absolute winner, I don't know what is. Okay. Now, let me tell you what I have been into personal development my whole life. Growing up dyslexic and ADD, it just has certain challenges. When you can't spell more than two words correct in a sentence, it presents a challenge. When you always have ideas going, we call it the active brain. You're just always thinking, so you're just kind of undisciplined thinking. Well, what did that create? A pill. A pill. Started off with Ritalin, then I went to Adderall. The first thing I would do when I was on Adderall for many years is take a pill. 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning. First thing I did because I was addicted. I was addicted to a pill, which, when you think of it, it's a short term fix. Instead of learning skills, creating better habits, I took the shortcut, a pill. Now it's expensive. There was one time when I was in between insurance companies. I go to the pharmacy to get my monthly group of pills, and the pharmacy says that'll be $950. $950 for 30 days. I said, no thanks. I immediately call and we find out that, hey, because they prescribed it, the insurance company would make good on it. And they did. Somebody had to eat $950. That's a story for another day. But that was what the price was for a pill. What is that? $30 a day. $30 a day. Yeah, that's about $30 a day. That's crazy. As opposed to learning the skills. Now, I'll cover this in other videos, but I think it's important. I was addicted. Didn't know I was addicted. Now, what my friend Rand Eberhard said, Adderall is legal speed. Legal speed. Kind of take that in. Legal speed. So you're speeding up that brain with a stimulant. That's why I was addicted to it. February 17th, it'll be 3 years this February. I will be drug free. Never taken another pill. That first day, holy mackerel. The day I'll never forget. My brain was mush. Took me months to start retraining it. I don't drink. I trained, retrained, rewired my brain. And it was a mess. But thinking helped do it. Jim Quick with Limitless was the first step of retraining that brain. He's a brain coach. He's famous for the boy with the broken brain. Look him up. If you want to develop this muscle, he's the best at it. So it took months and months and months to really train it. And then I got kind of, what do you call it? I got validation. I had a stroke. Oh, let me try. I don't even know the day. I used to, but I've forgotten it. So I have a stroke and I lose the left side. And I am 10 days in Wellstar, which was hell. And then 39 days in heaven, which was Shepherd. And it was just the time frame. I mean, is Wellstar hell? No. But parts of it were hell. And that's a story for another day. So I go to Shepherd, 39 days of learning how to eat, to walk, to bathe, to go to the bathroom, everything. When half of your body shuts down, everything shuts down. I still, 3 years later, have trouble with the plumbing because half of it shut down. So what happened was I'm out about, I don't know, a year and a half, and I get a call and they say, would you want to participate in a study grant? We got 85 million, whatever it was. And we want to do brain scans, and it's on your left side. So I had a friend that had one on the right side. We were kidding because I got in the grant. He couldn't because he had the wrong side of his brain. So anyway, I go down there, and you're in the MRI tube, and you have to open your eyes for 80% of the time. And if you've ever been in one of these things, you can get claustrophobic, but it didn't bother me because just the situation. So my eyes are open, and I go through, and they do the brain scan. Then we do a cognitive test. And growing up dyslexic and ADD, I can't remember ever getting an A in my life. I took a course at Virginia Tech, and my brother was helping me. He says, "Hey, take this course. This is your A." It was a history course by some guy. I took it. Did I get an A? Nope. B minus. It was the easiest course on the campus. But learning, my learning style did not fit into the learning style, and that's a whole different. Anybody that's dyslexic will tell you we think differently, and when you can't spell, when you think differently, and everybody's trying to put you into a box, which is a box that you don't fit, well, there's some complications, and there was serious complications. But that's a story for another day. So anyway, back to Shepherd. I'm taking this test, and I'm just breezing through it. And the guy that was giving me the test stopped at the end, and he looked at me and he said, "Have you ever taken this test before?" I said, "No. Why you ask?" He said, "You didn't miss a question. I mean, you had all the answers. Or yeah, I guess it didn't miss a question." And he said, I do these tests all the time. Never had anybody do that. So I got my first validation of an A because I had retrained through thinking to focus without a pill, and it worked. You couldn't have given me better news in my life. It was like I was on cloud nine telling everybody. I got my first A at age 64. Never graduated from anything. Flunked English. Got two attempts at Virginia Tech. Didn't even come close. Got out before they kicked me out. So having that validation of thinking made my year, made my life, because I always felt when you don't fit in, it's a weird feeling. It's like you're in the slow reading, remedial reading. You're always misspelling words. You're sending emails out and you butchering the language. People are thinking, "What the heck is this person like? What grade is he in?" So it was always a fear, which now I have no fears, no legitimate fears, because I lived in fear my whole life. So let's get back. Okay, so big picture thinking broadens perspective. Focused thinking brings clarity. Holy mackerel, I've never been so clear in what I'm doing in my life because I have that mindset of goals, habits, and when you start focusing your thinking, you have unbelievable clarity. Let me just read what John says. Concentrating on one issue at a time fosters clarity, eliminates distraction, enables better outcome. And when we go back to, are you stuck on the busy bus? So many people, it's just amazing. I make 10 phone calls a day. I'm done by one. So I do everything. Now I'm going to do 9 videos a day, and I'm going to do it by 9. So I'm going to do it for 30 days and see if I can accomplish that. I got rid of my car. I don't have transportation just because I wanted to figure out how to do it in the month of January. Just figure it out because I gave up sugar for 30 days just to figure it out. I gave up coffee for 30 days just to figure it out. And I kept challenging myself. And each time I got clearer. And we look at this, I was just thinking this, and I want you to be the best you can possibly be by thinking. I noticed like back in October of 24, people were thinking, oh shoot, we got the election coming up. Will this be 4 more years of a mess? Or are we turning the corner in America? There's always a chance because the legacy media, corruption, control, just all the things that go into an absolute disaster for the 4 years that we just, I didn't care to share his name because he messed up, but it really made us see how messed up America had become in 4 years of Biden and Harris. It was a disaster. So that's a story for another day, but you'll see. You'll see by somebody that has been battle tested, 2 assassinations, impeachments, prosecution, all motivated by stopping somebody that was going to change this world. And he is. Assembled the most amazing team you'll ever see. Still, people are doubting a battle tested person versus somebody that's never been battle tested in her life. Ask her a question and you don't have any idea what she said. What do they say? Word salads? It's a mess. No clear thought, no thinking, just afraid to say something because she's afraid of what people will think. That's why she didn't go on the Joe Rogan show. 3 hours of a long conversation, you can't fake anything. Who went on there? Donald Trump. Who went on there? Everybody that is not afraid to share their thinking. She was. She tried to control every single bit. And what did she spend? $1.5 billion. Wasted $1.5 billion. If I was a Democratic donor, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed if I put money into this. Okay. Creative thinking spurs innovation. Whew, man, is this a big one? We're getting into the AI world. Here's what John said. Creative thinking encourages seeing problems and solutions in new ways, which leads to breakthroughs and innovation. I ask people, how are you using AI in your business? And most, like 9 out of 10, like 9.5 out of 10, they just have you know what? I don't know. They just don't have an answer. Now, AI is a creative thinking tool. That's the way I think of it. It does 80% and I do the rest. This outline that I'm going over with you was done by AI. Courses that I develop are done by not the voice, but 80%. So if you can get 80% done and you're thinking the front end, how you're going to command it, what are you going to give it to produce that 80% of the heavy lifting, then how are you going to use it the bottom 10% or the last 10%? It's like you're working the 80-20 rule with AI to the max. And when you think about I think the number is 100 million people have started with ChatGPT. 100 million. Get that? Understand the magnitude of that number. Are applying the 80-20 rule. 80-20 thinking will change the world, and it is. So when creative thinking spurs innovation, now I want to go back to one because big picture thinking broadens perspective. Okay. One of my mentors is Daniel Priestley, and he wrote The Entrepreneurial Revolution. He wrote Overprescribed. He wrote 24 Assets. He wrote The Entrepreneurial Revolution. So he says, think about how much you want to, what do you want to make? And if your answer is less than $1 billion, you're selfish. Because what does a billionaire do? Let's go back to a fundamental principle from Zig Ziglar. Help enough people get what they want, and you'll get what you want. So if you have a billionaire's mindset, you got to add that much value. So if you say, I just want to be, I just want to pay the bills, you're selfish because you're not doing anything to impact the world. But my goal, a billionaire, 10 years. By 10 years, let's go 70. So we're turning into 2025. By 2035, a billionaire. Now, how am I going to do it? 100 multimillionaires. And do I do it just for the money? No, for the impact. And I'm going to give away 90% in year 10. So every year, I'm going to give away an extra 10%. It's called reverse tithing. And what that does is it puts you in a position of impact. It puts you in a position of always being hungry. Hungry. Like my friend Les Brown said, be hungry. Because if you're always giving away more, if you're living off of 10%. No, eventually. But you're hungry to make an impact. And when your heart fills, it's filled by serving others. Take care of yourself, be the billionaire, but serve others, make an impact. So that's what Daniel Priestley shared. Now, I've had that for 6 months. Do I say it to everybody? No, because not everybody's going to understand. But I think when we talk about thinking, it's big picture thinking. Do you think Elon Musk has doesn't think he can accomplish what he's accomplished? No, he does. That's why he's the richest man in the world, because he's adding massive value through his companies. I heard on a podcast that they said, well, how does he do it? How does he repurpose Twitter to X? Tesla, the leader in the world in electric vehicles. SpaceX taking a government NASA program and just turning it upside down. And then I forget the other company he does. But the person said this. He flies around and he meets with the people, his staff, once a week. And what he does, he solves the biggest problem that they have. So each week he's meeting with, each day, each day. So he's solving the biggest problem every week, the biggest. So when you think of solving problems for your business, if you can solve the biggest problem every day, what's possible? It's unlimited. And when you think of how can you use AI to solve bigger problems, that's why generational wealth will be created this year. Now, will you make it in 1 year? No, but you'll create the mindset, the momentum, the rhythm. You'll attract the people that want to go, that vision attracts. Do you imagine the kind of people that Elon Musk attracts to his companies? Big thinkers, big thinkers, because they know by being a part of his vision, they're going to grow. They're going to be big thinkers. They're going to learn how to solve problems in their life. So think of your life, your business, solve the biggest problem every day. Just do that once a day. Solve your biggest problem. What is it? Now, how do I creatively think of the solution? Okay. So reflective thinking provides insight. Taking time to evaluate past experience allows individuals to learn from mistakes and recognize patterns and gain wisdom. Woo! Is that a handful right there? Reflective thinking. What I do now with the journaling app on the iPhone, I can speak faster than I can type. So I speak the day previously. Who did I meet? What did I learn? What can I apply to today? So now I can go faster in my thought process. I can put something together like this, which is I take AI. I've read the book. I take AI, I get the 10 major points, then I teach it. What I'm doing right here, I'm learning. As you're listening, I'm getting benefits from it because I'm learning by teaching it. We remember 10%. When we teach it, it goes up to 90%. So learn something, then teach it. Learn something, then teach it. Okay, let's go on to shared thinking strengthens ideas. Collaborating with in others enhance thinking by incorporating diverse perspectives and leading to more robust ideas. Woo-wee. I have a thing coming out where a lot of people don't realize the biggest change is happening. They're too busy and they're not thinking. They're just reacting. They wake up, they check their emails. That's other people's problems, and then they just bing 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 go wherever the day goes. They're on autopilot and reflection instead of collaborating with somebody. What's your perspective on this? But here's what we're doing here in our community. I will collaborate with any individual that I've kind of had a good podcast with. I believe in them. I believe their vision is there, but they're not seeing the digital transformation. And when you don't see it next year in 2026, it's going to be too late. The people that apply it now will be the winners in our economy. Apply it now. So I collaborate with people. I give them 60% the first year, and then it goes down to where they get 100% in the fifth year. Now, to do that, there's a certain qualification. I want to make sure it's the right person, and we can work together, because you have to enjoy working with people if you're going to work a 5-year plan like this. But they can buy me out at any time for $250,000. Anytime during those 5 years, because when 100 million people are using ChatGPT, OpenAI, wow, the compounding effect is insane. It's hard to even imagine what the world's going to be like in 5 years, because all these people are using 80/20. They're taking the heavy lifting, the details, and they're giving AI the opportunity to do that, and then they take the 20%. And you have 100 million people doing that, the world will never be the same. Problems like Elon Musk does, look, he's going to be the first trillionaire when you look at his path. And I didn't say this, but Patrick Bet David said it. I mean, that guy's worth half a half a billion already. And I mean, you look at Valuetainment, what he's doing down there and what he has already done, it's crazy because he is a man on the move. But getting back, he's the one that said that Elon will be the first trillionaire that this world will know because he's solving the biggest problems every day. And when going back to the productivity hack that the person who knew him, he sits down with that person or group and said, "What's your biggest problem?" The person says it, and then he just goes and solves it. And they don't do anything until they solve it. So you're always solving the best and biggest problem, not the best, the biggest problem. And so if you do that, the world is your oyster. So I collaborate with people because they're not, if they're on the busy bus, they're not going to see this transformation until they get on the purpose plane, think for a change. I love it. Thinking for a change. Let me get that book back. Thinking for a Change. Look at that. That book was written in 2003, 23 years ago. Is it more relevant today than back then? Yes, because we got so much information coming at us that it's important. You can't replicate the thinking. That's individual. You've all heard that we use 3% of our brain, something really low. So if you can take that muscle and really develop your thinking this year, the world is your oyster. So let's go on to the next one. Unselfish thinking creates value. Okay, serve, impact. My motto is be bold, make an impact, and have fun. Be bold, make an impact, and have fun. Giving away 60% of profits that a person won't get anyway. So why don't have 60% of something than 100% of nothing? So, but what it takes is thinking it through. We have a thing called flip the script. You can ask me any question. If you've been on my podcast, you can ask me any question for 30 minutes. Whatever's on your mind, ask me anything. It's going to be recorded, so you're going to get the straight answer. And then you decide, do you take advantage of the world that's changing? Or do you sit and you hang out on the busy bus? Because if you're on the busy bus, you ain't thinking. If you're on the purpose plane, you are. You're thinking about your purpose. You're thinking big. You're thinking real big. Billionaire in 10 years. Billionaire in 10 years. I want 100 of you to create millionaires, multimillionaires. And maybe there's a few that want to be billionaires, but that's good. And all you're doing, not all you're doing, you're working your butt off and you're creating massive value. So the more value you create, the more the market pays you. Plain and simple. It's usually pretty simple. Okay. Consistency in thinking builds momentum. Okay. Regular practice in disciplined thinking helps develop habits that lead to sustained success over time. Your habits create your outcomes, period. You have good habits. I get up at 3 o'clock on a regular basis, 7 days a week. 7 days a week. Let me have a little bit of coffee here because I love the taste of it. Not that it keeps me awake. I'm so excited. It's hard to contain myself because I'm thinking, I'm impacting, I'm doing. My team in the Philippines does my 80% for me. The details, the stuff that I'm not good at. And I'm just doing more and more and more of stuff I love to do. The average person watches 4 hours of TV, consumes 4 hours of TV. Now, if you're a consumer of the past, which is, movies and shows in the past, and you're not creating the future, missed opportunity. So what if you took 4 hours, 7 days a week, 28, let's put 25 on there, times four, that's 100. That's 1,200 hours. What if you switch to creating value instead of consuming other people? What is possible? And I think if that doesn't keep you up, then nothing will. You have to do some serious thinking. 1,200 hours. Now let's put another one on there. Social media. I think it's the average person is a half hour to 90 minutes. Well, I don't do social media, and I started out in social media, so I know how to do it, but it's time consuming, and it's programming your brain to make judgments, and the brightest minds in the world are working for the big tech companies to keep you on their platform. They make money when they take your time and they connect you to their platform. So do you think you're going to beat that system? No. One like creates another like. Connects a share, connects another one. And before you know it, you're an hour and a half out of your day. And what did you do? You scrolled. So I don't do that. So I focused on creating, not consuming. Creating versus consuming. So be a creator in whatever you do. If it's not this type of information, then create something. Take that 100 hours a week and create. Think, innovative. Think, what can you provide the world? What problems can you solve that will make the biggest impact for what you do? You think that way, you'll make an impact. Like we say, be bold, make an impact, and have fun. Be bold, make an impact, and have fun. Okay. Consistency in thinking builds momentum. Everything's momentum. Regular practicing disciplined thinking helps develop habits and lead to sustained success over time. You hear a consistent word in there, habits. So you do the consistent thinking, you're going to build momentum. I like to say, I think, let me go back to again for those that didn't listen to the first part. I think we were all in this hold pattern because of the mess of the last 4 years. So this year, everybody was going, oh gosh, November's going to come, and what's the outcome going to be? Will it be 4 more years of a mess, or will we turn the corner and go to a new era? That was the big thing that everybody just kind of almost planted their stake. There's some, like Brendan Bouchard, who does Growth Day, and there's people, anybody, 500,000 people are in his community in Growth Day, including me. So our thinking wasn't necessarily geared towards that, but I was dealing with people that really just put their life on hold until November hit and we got positive outcome. And the ones that want to say that they didn't, oh, well, that's poor thinking. I read something Stacey Abrams was saying that it wasn't a mandate, it wasn't this. Yeah, right. It was. You look at the winners and losers, the winners are thinking. The winners are aware of what's happening. People that don't think, that don't want to think, that's their belief system, that's their choice. But choices have consequences, just like elections have consequences. I think there was somebody that said that too. Elections have consequences. So, for you to get momentum, think, think, think. Spend time thinking before you start the day. Don't react to emails, other people's priorities. Think. Use the journaling app in the iPhone now, and you can put your thoughts in there. So that way you can always go back to it to develop it. It's a search function. It's the best app I've ever seen in my entire life. Nothing close. You use that in 2025, your life will change and you will not believe the outcome that you can have by thinking, by reflecting, by recording. Because I heard Tony Robbins say one time, if life is worth living, it's worth recording. And no, he didn't say that, but he did say this. That I just drew a blank for a second. He said, the quality of your relationships are the quality of your life. Quality of your relationships are the quality of your life. You look at people that invest in relationships, they have a rich life. The ones that don't intentionally develop a relationship, they don't. Because as you get older, and I'm 67, life tends to narrow because either people are passing away or they get distracted. Whatever it is, you have less. When you're a kid, you have lots of friends. Then it gets less and less. I think I heard somebody say at your funeral, if you can find 6 people to carry your casket, you've done well. And so when you think of relationships, invest in relationships. Be intentional about relationships. Put your time in relationships. You'll benefit in life and you'll benefit in your business. So the last, let me see where we are. Oh, my golly. Action-oriented thinking drives results. Thinking must be paired with action. Keyword, action. I love the people that sit on their thumbs and say, well, I'm just going to pray that God will provide this for me, whatever, and they don't do anything. You got to take action. Prayer and action. Prayer and action. If you just talk about something, what does Daniel Priestley say? Ideas are a dime a dozen, but you got to implement them. Action. Implement them. Action. So when I look at my planner, if you saw my planner, it's Brenda Bouchard's. My day is very detailed. Now you think, oh my gosh, that's just that. If you can't, you don't have any freedom if you have all this mapped out. Oh yes, you do. You do, because you're so efficient with the action that you've laid out. You have plenty of time. Done by one. Done by one. Think about that. What if in your life you could have your major things done by one? And then you would connect, talk to people, and build relationships for the latter half of the day. What would happen in your life? Your life would be richer, but personally and professionally. I love talking to people, finding out what they're working on. How can I help them? Serving will fill your heart, period. Serving will fill your heart. And so take action. Thinking drives results. Habits create outcomes. So I wanted to give you this, and I want to give you something. Yeah, here we go. I want to give you something. Happy New Year. Okay. PeteKane.me/masterclass. That is our ecosystem. Who is the richest company in the world? It's called Apple. They have an ecosystem. Do you think success leaves clues? You better believe it. Do you think because Elon solves the biggest problems every day in each of his companies, do you think that creates results? Look at him. He's worth $500 billion. I don't know what it is at this time. So this is our ecosystem. The first is Daniel Priestley's assessment. You got to have an assessment in your business. Second is you got to create digital assets. Again, Daniel Priestley. If search my name, search your name. Now, that gap between your name and my name is your opportunity. You close that gap, your opportunity goes through the ceiling. It's like a SpaceX rocket because we are in a entrepreneurial revolution and we're in a digital revolution. If you're not buying Bitcoin, then you're not aware of what's happening. Because if you just take your dollars, I think I heard you lose 17% a year. So if you just bury your money in your mattress like some people would do, you're losing 17%. But with Bitcoin, because it's the first zero uh, currency, you can't manipulate it. You can't print more. There's 21 million coins, period. Done. 20, and the price is just going to go up, going to continue to go up. And if you want to know more about it, Daniel, know it. Michael Saylor, Julia McCord, there's a lot of people. Just go on YouTube and do your homework. Find out why this is going to create generational wealth. Don't you think you're worth it? Stop, think, learn, and understand that we are in the biggest transformation ever in my lifetime. Biggest generational wealth will be created. Now, how is a guy? People are ridiculing. I mean, I don't know how much he's bought, but his company is. They made the first purchase years ago, 250 million. There's still a guy. I don't. I think his name was. He's a gold guy. When you listen to his um, discussion with another person, I don't remember the exact name. It's like a liberal talking to a conservative and trying to rationalize all the craziness that's gone on the last 4 years. And when you listen, sit back and think, you're going, oh my gosh, that's a person that has no perspective of life. That's crazy. So think, do your homework, check them out, go do your homework. Now that has nothing to do with, it's not one of our, it has to do with an ecosystem and the financial rewards and the new currency. We're in a new era. No more printed money like we've been doing. No more big time debts. We're going to eventually make the 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 debt turn into assets, and it's going to be done by Bitcoin because there's plenty of digital currencies out there, and there will be more. But the one that only has 21 million, put your money in that. Just take a percentage every month and put it in there, and don't move it. Like Warren Buffett, he would do long-term investing. That's the way you got to think about it. Just buy it and hold it. That's what Michael Saylor is doing. Buying it and holding it. He's buying everything he can buy. He's playing the long game because he understands it. He's an MIT graduate, smart guy. He bought Apple when it was, and I think Apple and Amazon or Google, one of those. He bought Apple and he spent 50 million. And 10 years later, or I think 10, he cashed out for 500 million. He 10x'd it. I don't know if it was 10 years, but he 10x'd his investment. So this is a smart guy. Success leaves clues. When you're listening to people, see what they've accomplished. Now, I'm covering John Maxwell in this. I'm not telling you this is Pete Kane. This is John Maxwell's book, Thinking for a Change. I'm just telling you a little bit how I use it. But this ecosystem is our ecosystem that will take people to the moon, or in Elon's case, Mars. Because that first one, assessment, second one, digital asset. The fifth one is growth day. The fourth one is coaching. You got to have a coach. You're going to climb Mount Everest. You're going to do it by yourself? Don't think so. You won't make it. You got to have a guy to coach, somebody that knows the turf, knows the way. We have high performance coaching, which is different than just regular coaching. Coaching in general, got to have it. High performance coaching. If you want to accomplish, you want to be a billionaire, then you need a high performance coach, period. Our magazine is our asset that my partner, Jeff Bourgeois, who's an AI specialist, and that's number 9. But the magazine, let me see, I'm going to put it up because we are going to have 100 of these next year, probably more. But yeah, you can go to join the waiting list, put your money where your mouth is, give us a buying signal. Once we sell out a magazine, 20 people, we produce, print, and we coach each group of 20. We coach you on strategy. And you better have a strategy coming into 2025. Look at the best strategists out there. Seth Godin, he wrote the book, This is Strategy. I know I have it here. I have it on audio. I have his deck of cards. I got it all because he's the best. Why not learn from the best? Get his book. This is Strategy. I was on a call with a person, and we're winding down. And I don't know. It came up about strategy, and I said, "Hey, I'm reading Seth Godin's new book. This is Strategy." And he says, "Oh yeah, I read his blog every day." I said, "Do you have his book?" He goes, "No." I said, "You read it every day. He's a marketing guy, and you don't spend $30 for a book? Whoa, is that a mistake?" See, choices have consequences. You're a marketing guy and you're not buying his book. That's not a good decision. It has consequences. Get his book. It's the best. He's the best. He's written 20 some books, bestsellers, all of them. He is probably the best. I mean, here we're talking about him, and that's what he talks about. The first 1,000 books you give away or sell, whatever you want to do, then the book's got to do the rest. And it's going to do the rest because you're going to find, I listened to at least 50 to 75 of his podcasts when he was being interviewed by various people. I have listened to his audio book once. I'm going over it twice now. I've read his book. I've listened to, I forget the name of it. It was on Spotify before the audiobook came out. So understanding from the best is a clue. Learn from the best. And in this case, the best in AI that I know is my partner, Jeff Bourgeois. This is our program of putting print communities in every city in the United States and around the world. And then you can go deep into the community. Like we have Kennesaw happenings. So you can order that on Amazon. So there's 32, I think, two or 33 stories in there. But there will be 20 in our prototype. I mean, how we're going to have a system. 20 people, groups of 10. We're going to coach high performance coaching on these 20 people on how to implement their strategy to be a millionaire. Be a millionaire. And if you're not setting your sights as high as you possibly can, then you're missing out. Why not set the highest you can, then figure out how to get there? So if you go to pkane.me/magazine, then you'll see our prototype. And then if you want to be a part of it, put $250 down. As soon as we sell out 20 of them, then we go for the cover in the back, and then it's a whole strategy after that. But it's simple. You want to guarantee your future, $250 is holding you back. If you don't do it, consequences. Choices have consequences. We'd love to have you, but not everybody's going to get it. They're going to be busy. They're going to be on the busy bus. When you're on the busy bus and not on the purpose plane, let me see. There we go. I love it. Yeah, you got to reverse everything. Let me just give you a couple things here because, man, this is so good. Okay, so this is the opportunity.
You go to pkane.me/opportunity. These are the 20 people we're going to put together in the next 2 weeks. That'll be our founders. And man, these people will be the best. Oh my gosh, the results they're going to get. But if you just want to spend $49 on yourself for 2025, try 7 days. Go to pkane.me/growth day. Today, Brendan will be on from 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 o'clock Pacific, for 2 hours of intense framework. He's been doing it for 16 years. I think he's pretty darn good at it. He's the best. This community is 500,000 people and growing like crazy. But invest in yourself. You're the best investment you can ever make in your life. If you do this, and you let us know that you got it through pkane.me/growth day, we'll send you a free course. Mindset, habits, goals. Mindset, goals, habits. That's dyslexia, reversing it. So, thank you so much. If you know of anybody that can benefit, please share it. Be a person of giving, of sharing, collaborating. And you know people out there, maybe it's not right for you, but let others. Somebody says they're a big thinker. They have big goals. They want to make a difference. They want to make the biggest impact on the world that they can possibly make. Share this with them. I think that's it. And then the assessment to get on the podcast, pkane.me/. No, there's no backslash. Because we have 3 avatars. I knew I wanted to close with this. 3 avatars. Entrepreneurs that want to grow and scale their business by 10x. That's a different mindset than regular. Nonprofits that want to grow and scale their nonprofit for greater impact. That's Glenda Hicks, the most awesome gamified. You'll hear about this lady. Oh, you will hear about it. That's our second. And third is corporate professionals. If you're like, you have a skill set, you love relationships, you've always dreamed of having your own business and being an entrepreneur, we have a path for you. And I have my friend, I won't mention his name because I don't have permission, but he's a relationship builder. He's been in this one industry practically his whole life, but he's developed relationships. He understands personal development. He understands what's happening. And so if you're in that situation and you're just like, biding time until I retire, don't do that. This next year, there's going to be more changes than you'll ever see in your lifetime. And you want to be on the front end of it, not wondering what happened when we turn the corner on 2026. So those are our 3 avatars. You can go to pkane.me, take the assessment, see the avatars, see how you want to participate. You want to be a billionaire? It's possible. You want to be a millionaire? It's possible. You want to be financially free? It's possible. You want to grow your business by 10x? It's possible. You want to grow your nonprofit for greater impact in your community and do it with a system? It's possible. So, thank you so much. John Maxwell, appreciate it. You're the best. Or not the best, but one of the best. Brendan Bouchard, you're the best. But there's a lot of people. There's not one best person. It's like so many. There's I have my mentors for scaling and growing, of which Seth Godin is one, Brendan Bouchard is another, Daniel Priestley, Chris Dew, Seth Godin, Jeff Bourgeois. And I do. You can Google mentors or go to my YouTube channel, which is just my name, and you'll see. Because you're going to see some things in 2025, and it's going to be fun. Because we want to be bold, courage, make an impact, the world, and have fun. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you. Be bold, make an impact, have